Hello, Human Genetics. This is Emily. I'm not currently in Ithaca, and I am in Connecticut. Hooray! So today I'm going to be talking about my family tree, and we're going to be focusing on the Hungarian side, and mainly, where did the B-type blood come from? I mean, most of my family is O positive. Well, the Italians are all O positive. My grandmother on my father's side is O positive, but my grandfather on my father's side is B positive. Now, why did this happen? I first found this website called Cassiopeia.org, written by this woman, Laura Knight Yadzik, who is a self-proclaimed scientific mythic, whatever that means. Anyway, she was researching anthropology of deformed skulls from the Hun invasion in the Middle Ages, blah blah blah. And then she abruptly segues into blood type distribution in Hungary. Her results came back as 36% of the population was O positive, 43% of the population was A positive, 16% of the population was B positive, and 5% of the population was AB. I fact-checked this information on Wikipedia, which is a totally reliable source, and the results were very similar with basically the same information. Now, what does this have to do with my family? Well, it has a lot to do. Well, since we know that 16% of the population has B-type blood, we can deduce that my grandfather was part of the population that had B-type blood. I'm not quite sure what his exact alleles were, if he was BB or BO, but since my grandmother is O positive, that makes her alleles OO. Now, it's very interesting that both my father and my uncle are both BO positive. And this can be found in two different ways. My grandfather could either have been BB or BO. According to a Punnett square, if we have my grandmother as OO, since she's O positive, and my grandfather as BO, you can see that there is a 50% chance that both my father and my uncle, or their offspring, will have BO blood. If we look at a different Punnett square, with my grandfather being BB and my grandmother being OO, we can see that there is a 100% chance that my father and my uncle will have BO blood. So really you could go either way, with either my grandfather having BO blood or BB blood. So what does that mean for me health-wise? The article states that environmental factors like diet and exercise can also affect your chances of heart disease. Seeing as my grandfather exercised a lot and ate healthy, I personally believe that his blood type probably had something to do with his heart disease, more than environmental factors did. My dad, on the other hand, he doesn't quite have the best diet or exercise regime. So what is his chances of getting heart disease? Is it the same amount of chances as my grandfather, or is it the same amount of chances as, just some guy walking down the street? Who knows? So what does this mean for me? Am I going to get heart disease like my father, and so on and so forth? Or am I just at normal risk for having heart disease? There's not that many diseases linked with O positive blood types, so there's no real way of knowing if I'm at risk for heart disease as much as my brother or my dad or his brother. So I guess I'm just gonna wrap this up and say happy hunting.